I'm camped at about 920 metres in the Cairngorms on a breezy morning. In fact, it was on and off quite a windy night with some rain. There is mist down on the tops and it looks like there's going to be more rain. It's not very warm for June. The overnight temperature fell to 7 degrees and last time I looked it was 10 degrees. I'm trying out for the first time the Robens Via 1 UL trekking pole tent, which is fine. It's a bit noisy in the wind, but I could lower the poles and get the edge of the fly sheet down to the ground. It hasn't been so windy, I felt the need to do that. The tent has 2 porches. This is a bit unnecessary, given that it's a solo tent, and it would certainly be a squash to try and get 2 people in. But as you can see here, the porch is big enough for using a stove and storing the pack just on one side. The stove is the Primus Lite Ultra, which I'm growing to like, mainly because it's so quiet. It's also compact and low profile for a pot on top of the stove design. Distracted there by a sudden stronger gust of wind. I have water coming to the boil at the moment for a second cup of coffee. I've already had breakfast, luxury this time, Firepot Posh baked beans, which is tasty and filling. Back to the tent. The inner tent has an odd design. As you can see, there's a door here which fastens with a magnetic clip, but at the high end of the tent you cannot open, as you can see, the inner door, which means when you're sitting here where there's the most headroom, you've only got access to this little bit of the porch. I think a T-zip, so you could open this side of the inner as well, would make a huge difference. That also applies because the fly sheet is designed, as you can see, there's another magnetic clip. You can roll it back that way. You can also roll it back the other way and move the single guy line so that this door is held in place. But when you roll it back that way, you've only got access to that bit of the porch at an angle, again, because you can't open this part of the inner. I think that's a shame. The tent would be much more usable, as I say, with a T-zip. At this end, the headroom is massive. I mean, I'm sitting on a fairly thick mat and I'm nowhere near the top of the tent. Oh, I can hear, I think, yes, the water boiling. Say, this stove is so quiet, you don't hear the burner at all. You just hear the water as it starts to boil. So now I can dip it into my coffee and stir in the no normal paste. The Via 1 tent has an offset ridge, and it's obviously designed that you sleep with your head at this end, the high end, and this is the end where you live, which again is a shame, therefore, that you can't open the inner at this end. The other end has a short pole to give it a bit of room, so that the idea being that your sleeping bag doesn't push against the sides or the end. It's got pockets. You can see there's pockets either side at this end. There's also pockets up here, which I haven't used, and a drying line, which I haven't had to use as it was dry when I walked in yesterday. Overall, it's a nice design, other than this irritating inner. But shortly, when I've had my coffee, I shall venture outside and take some video there. This is my breezy camp, showing the Robens Via 1. As I said when showing the inside, I should really have pitched it with the poles a bit lower so that the fly sheet came down to the ground. As it was, I had a reasonably comfortable night, and the rain that fell didn't come in. You can see that it has 2 high-level vents which are closable. I didn't close them. You can see the offset design. I think there's a bit of rain starting now. See that the long fly sheet door zips, unfortunately they're not 2-way, which would be useful for being able to look out without having to open them. Down here you can see how you can unclip let's see if I can unclip the pegging point, clip it into the other side, and then roll back this roll back this door and fasten it. As I said, you can't open the inner on that side, which is a real shame. It would have been much easier to have access and a porch without the wind blowing in if I'd been able to do that, and just for generally living at this high end of the tent. The winds are a bit stronger than they were earlier when I measured them, gusting to 20 miles an hour. This is probably the limit of comfort for the tent. I will try it with a lower profile, see what difference that makes. But overall, as I think, a 3-season solo tent, it's not bad, especially as the total weight is around 1 kilo. And moving away to show the site a bit, it is quite spectacular spot. I have camped here before, but not for many years. High up, it's mist, so I won't be going up high. From here I shall traverse across to the ridge you can see there and then descend it back to the car. But it's always great to spend a night in a wild place like this. Let's wander up to the locher. You can see there it's being fed by what is probably last months. Enough that it might last a few weeks yet. See old ski tracks on that slope there. Here's the Lochen, windswept. See another thin stream pouring down there from a higher snowbank. Lochen, unsurprisingly, is very full. You can see here where the outlet stream is flooding onto the grass. Around. There's my camp again. Whoa, that wind's gusts even stronger. So I think it's time to pack up and descend back to the flapping tent. Get stuff in the pack. It's windy enough. I'll be packing up inside the tent. That's my camp. That's the Robens Via 1 UL tent. And I hope you found this interesting.